What a series between Shopify Rebellion and Passion Project. And Passion Project, Wyatt, they came close, but in the end, they could not get past the hurdle that was Fluorescent Star Duelist. An ace in overtime to close out the map 14-12. Wow.
I didn't want to believe because I knew it would just hurt me. And I started to believe, and it hurt me. This is so sad. It was a great effort, though, for what was a just sick series. Did not expect it to come down to the wire like that at all. Big credit to Passion Project to making that comeback almost a reality, but at the very least bringing it to OT. They took a map. They kept it close the entire time. And, I mean, obviously for SR, just what Floor did today in this series was outrageous.
Unbelievable, honestly. And Dan as well. This was a map that, yes, defensive sided, but Shopify Rebellion 10-2 at the half. I mean, again, you have to really applaud that comeback and how close this was brought by Passion Project, because Shopify Rebellion, I mean, they are the top team for a reason. It's even possible to take down.
Absolutely. It was a Passion Project that looked amazing on what was that second defensive side. When it's 10-2 and you're down, you don't really believe most of the times, and it takes a lot of effort and everybody just being connected as one to make a comeback like this one all the way into overtime happen. But Shopify Rebellion, when it comes to closing out these maps, they're gonna do it in the hands of Floor especially. We saw that 2v4, that last round was absolutely insane. I feel like most of us were watching that like, okay, Passion Project, they're gonna win this round, we're gonna go into another round at overtime. But guess what? Floor, with the knives, gets the last 3 and secures this map and this series. They also secure the Shopify Rebellion. They move to the grand final. So it's just insane performance by this team of Passion Projects, fighting and trying to do anything they could to stop Shopify Rebellion from doing the same thing that they always did, but it was just not possible today.
Fluorescent fans are eating good today, for real. Fluorescent, this is a full series where it was just Fluorescent, Fluorescent, Fluorescent. And we're going to talk about her a little bit more, because why not, Wyatt? I mean, the overtime that gets to 30 kills, all 3 maps. I mean, this is...
Yeah.
I don't know. Fluorescent seems going to be absolutely everywhere in a couple years. Just absolutely incredible.
I mean, I'd love to talk about other things, but how can you when a player on the winning team goes plus 46 for the series? That's correct. I mean, that's just ridiculous. The next closest to plus 46 for them was -2. That is just, that's obscene. I mean, this is one of the most dominant, maybe the most dominant individual performances that I've ever seen in a BO3 in Valorant. Ever. Genuinely. I can't think of anything that comes close to what we just saw. It's insane. 30 plus kills on every map. That's crazy.
It's unreal. Tomorrow's recap video is just going to be a frag video with only Fluorescent kills, and that's it. And that's a pretty good summary of how this one went. Not gonna lie. And there's a reason why when we get into our analysis, the hard-hitting analysis, Dan, well, I think it gets summed up pretty quickly.
I would like to present something to you guys. May I present to you the GOATs? Number 1, Fluorescent. No, let's start at the bottom. Number 4, Faker. Number 3, Michael Jordan. Yeah, he's all right. Number 2, Messi. Yeah, won a World Cup, whatever. Number 1, Fluorescent. What we just watched was unreal from Fluorescent. Absolutely insane performance. Even the way to close it out, and I cannot highlight that enough, because even when you're a believer for Passion Project, you just know that Fluorescent is gonna show up, is gonna show you what you cannot believe on the other side, as long as she is on the side of Shopify Rebellion. Insane, and truly the GOAT.
Honestly, I think that's a really solid list. I'd like to see anybody out there try and debate that one. I think it's pretty solid, but touched on the fact that there is other things to talk about in this series. And of course, we got to have a step-up performance from multiple members of Shopify Rebellion, including Sarah, who is on the line now for a Verizon post-match interview. Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. This was a very close series, one that was a lot closer than we thought. When you're eyeing at Passion Project on the other end, did you think this was going to be one that went to overtime? It's not one but 2 maps.
I definitely have a lot of respect for Passion Project. I think they're a great team. But I definitely didn't expect the series to be this close. I think it was a lot closer than we intended.
So it being a little closer than intended, what do you think was kind of the reasoning for that? Was there something that was kind of not clicking on your end? Was it just a passion project that out of the gate, I mean, just kind of flooding through? Like, what kind of caused this to be something that maybe a little uncomfy?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we kind of just tossed a lot of really unlosable rounds. And that just puts you in a really rough situation, like, to win the series. So unfortunately, Floor had to do some 1v9ing, but we got there in the end.
We got to talk about Floor, because just talk to me a bit more, because this is a player that all 3 maps dropped over 30 kills. At some point, it's like, no way Fluorescent can clutch this. All right, here's the 1v3 to win in overtime. I mean, she just seemed unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, Floor is just the best player in the world. Like, there's nothing else to say. I'm just so grateful for her. We all hugged her immediately after that clutch. I mean, I just love her so much. She's so talented.
She honestly is just over on the desk. We're still just kind of like jaw dropping over here. They were fangirling. It was incredible. And we got to see a lot of really good stuff. We got to see some great things coming out from you too. I mean, I'm thinking back to the 1v2 clutch over on Lotus, over on B site. We got the 1v1 with the Jazzykin around the ends. And I wanted to know from your perspective too, like if that was a call, like you thought Jazzy was flanking around sort of that way, if it was something that it just ended up that you guys met on that flank, or you just have that big brain or what?
Yeah, I mean, I thought she would rep somewhere. I wasn't really sure where. I thought she might rep C even. Like, I think if she repped to water C link, it would have been insane. But I expected her to repause, so I just wanted to walk somewhere and get a random angle, I guess.
Big brains across the board for Shopify Rebellion, and congratulations to making it to grand finals. Of course, there's going to be someone you're facing off against there. Do you think or hope it's going to be Passion Project again, or?
We'll see. I mean, it was definitely a fun series, so if we could play them again, I hope we could clean it up a bit. I think it'd be nice to have the chance.
Definitely looking forward to that. But yet again, glad to see Shopify Rebellion in the grand finals. So congratulations. Make sure to enjoy the rest of the night. All right, Sarah?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Always love being able to have the opportunity to talk to Shopify Rebellion. Moving on to the grand finals, it'll be a sight to see. Of course, we have now a lower bracket to be getting through. And up next, it's going to be FlyQuest going up against Solstice.
Every time I needed a new phone, I had to switch carriers.
I told him, at Verizon, everyone can get the best deals. Like that iPhone 15 on them.
Switching all the time, it wasn't easy.
35. You're gonna be here forever.
I know.
Here's your wireless contract.
Do I need a lawyer for this? Those were hard days.
Representative, switch!
Now that I got a huge storage and battery upgrade, I'm officially done switching.
New and existing customers get iPhone 15 on us when they trade in any iPhone, any condition, guaranteed.
I really wish you told me sooner.
I did.
Getting through with it again. They know that I got spirit with a pen. Don't know why they try to compete when they know that in victory it's never gonna end. Them and a week, that's why they could never speak. They ain't like me, I take it to the peak. Different type of steeds that I breed. Wheel up on the mic, they won't get one of these. talk from them. I don't wanna see nothing at all from them, they can't do it like me. So all I wanna see really is a round of applause from them. Vibes in the air, we caused it again. Life isn't fair, but we rolled it again. All of my teams being ready for the war, there's no warning for them. Tell them again, I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it, so you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. Tell them again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it, so you know I'm gonna win that again. Tell them 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 again. I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We look, you never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child not again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it, so you know I'm gonna win that again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Verizon Valorant Game Changers North America, where we just got to see Shopify Rebellion stamp their ticket into the grand finals. It was a pretty close one across the board, but pulling up the bracket here, it feels like a bracket that we've seen before when we're looking at that Shopify Rebellion run here, Den. But now we got to look at the lower bracket and who's going to be joining them there.
It's trying now to make it to the top 3, and it's going to be between FlyQuest and Solstice. It's a fight that is actually really interesting because it's going to be a rematch, but as you said, yeah, for Shopify Rebellion, even if you might not look at the maps, maybe you didn't catch every single thing. It was very, very close, but yeah, they make it to the finals again.
And I'd like that you called out that this is a rematch here between Solstice and FlyQuest Red. Not just once, but twice here for Game Changers Series 2. One pretty recent. We've gotten to see different results here different times, which makes this the biggest toss-up. I love it.
For sure. I'm really excited to see these teams face off again. Seoul have been so fun to watch, and not just because they like to play Clove a lot, which is really fun because not a lot of teams are playing the new agent, and you love to see that, but it's also just cool to see a team with majority players that are really unknown, players that you don't see at the top, side of these Game Changers brackets historically, and making such a deep run has just been so impressive from them.
And one thing that I want to add as well on the side of Solstice is that, yeah, like you said, is these players that we're just getting to know, and I find it super interesting because right when I look at who this team was having for their players, I noticed Sabubu, and Sabubu was very well known in Latin American Game Changers because she made it to the finals of Latin America North. She almost made it to that international LAN in Colombia that was going to say who was going to make it to the champions, and so now we're getting the chance to see her playing in a different region, doing really good, and as we noticed before with their results, putting a close fight against FlyQuest, which is literally the opposite. All the known games and Game Changers are there.
It's really fun being able to see these unsigned teams as well put up these type of fights and performances against the signed teams, because right now for Series 2, there's only the 2 signed teams, Shopify Rebellion and this FlyQuest Red. And we got to talk about FlyQuest Red a little bit more, because when we're looking at quintessential Game Changers teams, FlyQuest Red's been there for a while, and so have these players, Wyatt.
I'm a huge fan of the players on this team. I think that Lace has been one of the best players in GC, period, since maybe like midway through 2023 with that complexity roster. Has been versatile, playing different roles, and has had such fantastic mechanics and an ability to get kills on any of those various roles consistently. Dodonut has been one of the best duelists in GC for over a year now as well. Yeah, I remember last stage was neck and neck at the top of the stats for all of the playoffs, with Floor was just like only a couple decimal points behind in kills per round. Some fantastic talented players on this roster that are so explosive, so fun to watch.
This is just a roster made up of my favorite players. I absolutely love this. So being able to see FlyQuest Red fight for their life in this tournament has been, it's going to be a great show. I know it. And of course, we have to pull up this interview quote coming out from Sonder from, I believe, just a couple of days ago here, Dan, talking about the team and, wanting to get serious.
Yeah, wanting to get serious. I was asking her because that first match that they played just before, that was a rematch, and for today is going to be another rematch. So what the question was, how are you winning these rematches when you lose the first time? That might be something that affects you in the way that you adapt, in the way that you play, even in the mental part of the game. And she says it's just when it's time to get serious and when it's time to run through the lower bracket and make it to the end, that's when the team is playing the best. That's when the team is trying their best, and it just... yeah, it's the honesty that they just hate the seeding matches, but this is a scenario where it's elimination. You were trying to make it to the top 3, ideally to the grand finals, and I feel like we're going to be seeing a very, very interesting and exciting game from the side of FlyQuest.
I mean, they're in their ideal situations. Life's on the line. It's time to get serious and see what they're made of. And we get to see a step up and a different look of multiple players on the team, and even just within this Game Changers themselves. Looking back at, Donut, who we know to be such a good raise here, Wyatt, and being able to see 2 different looks coming out from her.
Yeah, absolutely. The Raze specifically is the agent that you first associate with Dodo Nut. Really solid at the offing. The movement is fantastic. The rifling is fantastic. Was playing some Sage on Icebox, and even on that agent was popping off. Was like 22 for 14 in this last game when they pretty handily demolished Reformed, a team that are no slouches.
And when Athena was on the desk, she was talking about how Dodo has always wanted to play this stage. She wanted to play this battle stage for the longest time when Athena and Dodo were part of the same team. And so now you get the chance to see that on the map of Icebox, and it looked amazing. Both of the teams were actually playing that stage, and it was Dodo really coming up on top, coming up with a couple different ideas. And there's only so much that you can do with the stage, but I feel like it was enough where Dodo was able to show off and to play that agent that she always wanted to play.
Cracked Sage players are absolutely terrifying out in the server. So I'm excited to see what we see coming out from Dodonut and the rest of the squad today. But of course, we have to talk about what we expect from their opponents, because Solstice going into this, I mean, even if they're not this signed team, even if maybe the names don't ring quite familiar to everyone just off the gate here, Wyatt, their names to really become familiar with fast, because the performances that they've been putting up in Game Changers Series 2 has been fantastic across the board with some really fun ideas as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure viewers are not particularly familiar with, Elaborate, Sububu, you were talking about earlier, Triad coming from LATAM, Marcel and Melia. These are not the mainstays of the top tier of GC and NA. Just so many breakout players here. Melia has been so fun to watch. Will be the one that's going to be on the Clove, which they've been playing on Lotus, Sunset, a couple other maps. It's been really exciting to see, really dynamic. And then Scary Shark, aka Nora, has just been the standout star of this team.
We got to talk more about Scary Shark, and not just all the fun iterations of Nora's name out there with that IGN, but Scary Shark in general. I mean, that is a name that right away, Dan, people became quite familiar with, because Scary Shark out in the server has been popping off. Maybe it's not the #1 across the boards that we saw Fluorescent, but ACS at #2, that's pretty damn good.
I mean, if you are second to Fluorescent, you have to be feeling pretty good, because that's not an easy thing to do, just to stay on top, especially because we have so many amazing players, especially in this top 4. And Scary Shark has been incredibly consistent in this controller role, which how many players can we say have been doing this in Game Changers in the second series? It's not easy at all, and it seems like it's an amazing addition to this roster that, as we talked about, is a mix of some players that we might have seen a couple times in those other organizations or maybe in another region, and now you see Nora with that consistency. I feel like it adds for everything that they need to win that series today.
One other stat that I just wanted to bring up that isn't shown on that graphic is the kills per round. Scary Shark right now is at 0.92 kills per round, playing Omen and Viper. That is so absurd. 0.92 is like extremely good duelist statistics. I mean, right now, Dodonut, the duelist on the opposing side, Fly, is at like a 0.82, which is really solid. I mean, that is just absolutely obscene. No controller should be getting that many kills so consistently round after round.
Yeah, to see this impact out of controller player and not the duelist has been incredible. And I mean, a really big part of too why Solstice has been able to put these wins like behind them and be able to move on when you have everybody kind of firing on all cylinders like that. So massively impressive. But of course, we do need to touch on the duelist here a little bit and talk about the duelist here for Solstice and actually compare and contrast a little bit with what we get to see on the opposing end here of Dodonut here, Dan.
Yeah, I like this head-to-head between the duelists, because we have a Dodo that we know very well. As Wyatt said, we often associate with the race, but Mariceline, aka Wavy, has been so good. And I gotta say, last time that these two teams played against each other, it was a Wavy that was not doing so good, was struggling a little bit, and ever since, every single time we got to see them, they got so much better, so much more consistent, kind of like we're seeing from Nora. And I feel like that is a perfect combination for the two duelists, and the head-to-head that we're gonna see very often in a lot of rounds early on, because these two teams, they like to be aggressive.
I'm excited ahead of today's series that, especially if this is Marceline that maybe didn't have quite the pop-off performance, that they have a chance to redeem going ahead into today's series. And it's time to get that underway. Head over to our map picks and bans. I always love to, Wyatt, once we get into a rematch, to see how this changes up a little bit. FlyQuest losing Lotus, opt to ban it out first.
Yeah, that is pretty solid from Fly, that their perma ban is already Lotus. And that's just a map that Seoul like to pick into really often. That's their first pick. So it's not like they have to waste the ban to get rid of a good map from Seoul. It's already their perma.
Hey, it works out, right? I love when things work out like that. But Dan now ahead of him. Icebox is our first pick here. FlyQuest, how are you feeling about this map pool in general with this rematch?
I feel like the Icebox is really interesting to start us off because I don't know how Solstice are going to do. Last time that we got the chance to see them on this map of Icebox, they were playing with the Reyna, and I don't know if it's going to look the same. They lost 13-4 against Pawpaws. This is a team, by the way, that is really good. Pawpaws is a team that took a map away from Shopify Rebellion, has taken a map away of a couple of those big teams, but even then it's an Icebox that we haven't seen in a while. I don't know if we're going to be seeing that Reyna again, and obviously to touch on what we just talked about, Dodo is going to be most likely on the stage again, so that's going to be something to look forward to.
I love when we get to see something a little bit too different here. Sorry, Wyatt. And ahead where Agent Select, like, I don't know what Solstice has up their sleeve.
Yeah, we'll have to see here on Icebox. That was only once that they played this map, and it's hard to imagine that they're going to be playing the same comp, but I suppose you never know. It was just that one result was so tough for them, and they're not going to. Wow, they're actually going to the Deadlock, which has been seeing more and more play in America, just kind of generally over the past month or so. Icebox was a map where I think we might have first seen it actually on account of Evil Geniuses bringing it out. Jawjimo was playing it. I think that's the first time Deadlock was actually played in NA this year. So there's, some evidence that it can work. And Solstice, we know they're a team that likes to experiment, bring out these, unorthodox agents, the agents you don't see very often.
And honestly, us that we follow challengers, we're used to seeing that Deadlock by now. Yeah. We've seen it so much. I feel like way more than we've had to. But for Solstice, I'm excited to see what this Deadlock is going to do. We've seen some teams in Game Changers as well have success with this Deadlock, have some cool ideas for the post for the late rounds. And also, I feel like it's amazing because we just talked about the two duelists. Obviously, Dodo is going to be on the Sage. Marceline is going to be on the Jet. So a chance to change the history, a chance to change what happened before for Marceline to step up and be that better player, and it's gonna be if she's the duelist, and on the other side there's none.
I'm just curious how FlyQuest Red are prepared against this Deadlock, because in challengers we've gotten to see teams be obliterated by these setups that they don't expect and the annihilations that kind of catch them off guard, and FlyQuest Red have to make sure that they're not on the wrong end of that going into today's match. But let's get it started. Let's head on over to Icebox, and to take us through it, it's going to be Mr. Rivington and Vans the Silly.
Me the silly.
Thank you so much, Sierra. That is silly. That's silly. But I'm the one introing today. It's going to be crazy. We're getting into this one. It's a lower round 3. It's okay. It's okay. We'll take time to get used to this. We're going back to the 2021 duo, but we have FlyQuest versus Solstice. Vans, last time I said FlyQuest had so much confidence and we're really good at adapting. And versus a new composition for a Solstice, they're going to have to adapt today.
Yeah, and they're going to have to adapt also because it's the third time that they meet against each other throughout the series for number 2, right? And they traded into these series where FlyQuest won during the open qualifiers. Then you also had now Solstice beating them in the upper quarterfinals. And you just saw that quote earlier on from Sonder. When it's time to lock in, they'll lock in. So I will not be surprised if they come in with a vengeance in this series against Solstice. And with this composition where there's not too much verticality outside of Donut Sage Walls, where you're playing against a Deadlock, I'm expecting to see a lot of A-side pops because the Deadlock, when we've seen her play on this map, there's been a lot of B-side lockdowns from Jawjimo or from Darkest, for example, if you follow as VCT NA Esports in stage 1 of Challengers.
Yeah, you kind of just capitalize on a team once they get into position, hit those alerts, hit those nets, and then everybody slams down on them. Early dizzies and a few things happening today, but no action just yet.
Already cutting down a lane at least. There's not going to be any lurks coming through or available for FlyQuest because of this wall now being thrown on the middle from Elaborate. So you are able to focus a lot here on the extremities, and that's how you get the first contact.
Quickly, Marceline takes one. They quick get out of maze right away. Everybody backing up in sight. Just ready to absorb what FlyQuest has next. Right Sonder moving forward, expecting a wingman plant here as they try to set up some type of post plant. And no rotation even from Scary Shark. Solstice feels so comfortable in this defense right now, and they are ready to trade it out. Open the wall, gives them a little bit of protection on the entry. FlyQuest go for two as Sabubu rather trades one back. And now it's just the top side here. Nice 0 points, gonna let them know what's happening. May just delay until Scary Shark gets here. But this wall is giving them a little bit of a rethink on hitting the site fast.
At least that's info on both of the players, because the knife hit the player at the bottom hell, which is Sonder, and the other one was defusing. There's that net onto Sonder, but they still have to break the wall.
Ooh, coming in, drop down. Starbound has to get back. Beautiful movement here. Quick molly on the spike. Rope play goes down, but it's going to be the shot. Elaborate gets it. Hit rather. Starbound gets Elaborate, I should say. That's the 3K. And Starbound was getting 3K, 4Ks on Sunset last time we saw these anchor positions, these clutch positions, Vans. It's already starting.
And it was such a good start for Solstice at least, though. You saw them lock down this side with the Sheriff, and then another one in front of A side when they dashed away. But I feel that you're trying to play not to lose at that point for Solstice. You see them all pull back, and instantly FlyQuest started walking forward and played the contact in the front of that site, and it really caught the players off guard. And I love the wall. Usually they section out the screens over to Nest just to get a safe plant, but they wanted to fight to bring the insurance back to their side. And a great start this time around, an attempt to go aggressive for Solstice off the pistol round, off their eco, but it seems like FlyQuest were ready for another A-side pop.
That's twice now they've pushed up to try and get a quick kill there. Nice answer onto Scary Shark. Orb grab as they just feel it out moving forward. No push yet from Elaborate towards mid. Everybody's going to be 4v5 in sight. That wall comes up again. They're going to repeat this strat coming in. Lace on Nemelia takes down two. Bulldog doing work, looking for the classic right clicks, but it is just a freight train moving on through the A site, Vansili.
And at least they've given their positions and their attempt and what they're trying to do for FlyQuest on these 2 rounds in a row that they hit towards the A site. The wall's at the same spot. We talked about the verticality that they don't have for FlyQuest this time around, and maybe an opportunity to get some kills now that they have rifles for Solstice to be in positions on top of screens, generator pipes, or something like that, so that they could actually stop this slow aggression that would be coming out of FlyQuest. And remember, they can't really dive inside the sites either. They don't have a KO knife to stop some players around, so there's good opportunities here for Solstice to play in these off angles, and it starts already. A high-low right now by the pipes. Ooh, missed a shot on the recon, though. That's going to be a little bit annoying for them to try to get control of the A site on defense.
So much chaos. They're all getting pushed back here. 410's gonna be a peak. 2 for Solstice, 3 to start off. And they're gonna be looking quick for these next few frags to just shut this round down, but Starbound enters back right away. And it's just a finalizer on 410 as Lace falls to Malia. My word, Solstice is acting fast here. Called a beautiful bonus round here.
Yeah, FlyQuest wanted to go very quickly on that round in their bonus just to tempo up, and found that they had a lot of success on the types on the rounds that they're hitting towards this A side. But they all ran through the Viper wall thinking that their protocols to go into the trades were going to come into effect. Although it has been, right, if you're following FlyQuest throughout the main event, the first day when they lost against Solstice was not actually the best fundamental Valorant that we've seen. And then the more and more that they started fighting here throughout the bracket, through the lower brackets fighting back, you're seeing the buddy system come back into favor, and they're trying to do that in that bonus round, and it didn't pay off rather. And for this round is a slow 3-2. They've actually inserted Thea into a late lurk. And because the deadlock is still now throwing his wall towards B main, there's an opportunity to move in, and that wastes out an early owl drone to get information for Sabubu. So with this time, you still have a lot in the hands of FlyQuest that they could do around this map while waiting for this wall to drop.
And one of the first slower rounds, too. We've seen a lot of this fight happen right on the orb. Now everybody just calms down, take a breather. I think all this consistency, that conditioning towards A with the wall, see if they can use it different now and see how Solstice might be playing defense on the other side of the map, it seems.
And especially with that first pick they've just gotten, you have no choice for Solstice but to fall back because you have sonic sensors on the B side. It could give you an early info to be like, okay, the hit's coming towards B. It'll sound the alarm so we could rotate a lot faster. But nonetheless, this is still going to be a plant down for FlyQuest, where they could play the pulse plant with a Thrash available. Not anymore.
Ooh. Elaborate, super aggressive, going for a first frag there to find one for the team, bring it back in their favor. Wingman gets the plant down. It's going to be the setup now for the side of FlyQuest. That was quick on the side of Solstice to try and react. Very interesting, but it's going to leave Malia alone and running to keep that Vandal.
Yeah, definitely. With the players coming through, and as soon as they dropped at least the Gecko, which was played here by Sonder, but couldn't take down the Wingman. You already had everybody else from FlyQuest out in the open just by Yellow to go for those instant trades and not give a chance here for those players to rotate all the way back towards spawn to support the first frags that came through from that aggressive swing out from Solstice. And Melia was a little bit too far away, wasn't available to do some effective pop flashes so he could get more value out of the hits behind the Viper wall. And FlyQuest did tempo back after getting a nice little default to start, getting that pick towards the middle and working that map. Just as we mentioned before, playing with less information on the side of Solstice. Because, yeah, I mean, you should be able to still be able to get some good information because you're playing this double initiator take. But because you've wasted that Owl Drone so early at the beginning of the round, you're just going to have to wait on item refreshing, right, for the recon dart, for the knife. And it just wasn't the timing that worked out in their favor.
And you mentioned the pivotal kill on Scary Shark, right? They don't have the info. They have to peek a little bit more, and it costs you.
Now back to the tried and true. So the same buddy system towards this middle, but the aggression continues. They want to take this early control for FlyQuest out towards the A main. And they're just getting so much value on these duels in the middle.
Oh my word. Marceline also towards A, trying to bring one back. That was a very needed trade. If to your right, the duels just continue to go in favor of FlyQuest. If they try to peek out early, if they try to get something here, and Thea's looking for the same thing again.
She heard the rotate for sure in the back of bowlers, so she's going to have that confidence to walk in, fight this duel, and get that pick. That's huge right now, once again, for FlyQuest to work the map. They're going to inch to go for a 3-1 split with this Owl Drone trying to clear Yellow.
A nice shot by Marceline as Dodo trades onto Yellow. The kills again across the map happening, just tearing apart Solstice. Is 3 now in sight, bolstered down as Marceline tries to enter. Bladestorm is there, but to use that now, so risky unless they find the kills they really want in the moment. Just behind Yellow, Dodo not hides. Last one to really peek here after the distraction is made towards the right side. Marceline hits the first few shots. Great patience by the side of FlyQuest, but the T-Protocol wasn't there for Dodonut. Coming out with the Hunter's Fury. Lace is going to have to stop right now and take the shots as Marceline gets 2, 3, 4 on the round, and that's going to be the defuse. They slow walk it in, Vans, and absolutely take FlyQuest positioning.
That's the only thing you could have done on a 2 versus 3 when you had no utility for Solstice. If you're going to run through, you just let him know when you're coming, and they had the perfect high-low at the top of green there for FlyQuest, but as I mentioned that, there was one that was a little bit too far behind. Lace was trying to fall back, play behind, reposition herself so she could play it safe with the Hunter's Fury, which then allowed Solstice to have 2 individual 1v1s in it. Just miscommunication towards the end. Once they realized that that clock was ticking down on that spike and like, hey, let's go with our insurance. Let's go with our insurance plan to use that Hunter's Fury. And it just got caught off on the timing. Something that FlyQuest did so good at the beginning of these rounds, but haven't been good on the timing at the end of the round. So 1 round separating these 2 teams to tie it up as Solstice behind by that 1. But that win cost them a lot here. Marceline only has a Bladestorm, and they're going quick here for FlyQuest to execute it right into the B site.
Already pushed through A. FlyQuest now going to try and get as much positioning they can and maybe even push forward a little bit more, finding Elaborate as well. Sabubu answers back, trying to hold her ground. Everything calms down for a moment as this wall has to be broke through. FlyQuest is not really in the positioning they want to be just yet for this plant. There's a good res onto Thea. And now it's the regroup for Solstice. Quick dizzy out. Thea and Starbound instantly trade on either side of each other, and it's all Marceline. Doesn't even get a shot off. Dodo not looking behind, calling the timing, and FlyQuest take it right back into their favor.
And FlyQuest so far, this is at least 3-4 bloods that gave him a lot of map control at the beginning of these rounds, whether it's fast hits or slow hits, and that's something here that Solstice should have had some tape, though. This is a game that, in a map that FlyQuest played against Reformed GC a couple of days ago, where, 88% of those rounds that were won here on the attack from FlyQuest was thanks to eliminations. So One, they're getting great pulse plants because they're playing with a Sage Wall plant. And then secondly, they're not afraid to fight more within the site against Solstice or against Reformed. And they're doing the same thing in Solstice. You saw that single round that they played a little bit further back. They gave that space for Solstice. They took advantage of it to get the second round. So I think FlyQuest for that end, they want to show again, they want to play with vengeance and they want to show the aggression and not give a chance here for Solstice to really set up. And speaking of these setups, it's only 3 players towards the A side on this half buy. And the Marshal's not going to get too much value yet, especially after the lockdown from FlyQuest.
Yeah, super secure on the round. I was going to say this might be one of those wall rounds to the left. Marceline, though, tries to get out. A good preventative dizzy. Even with the lockdown, they realize they're going to be peaks from Solstice. And there's that wall we saw. Just out of position, they'll be okay with 1 player detained. Waiting for everybody to gather. Scary Shark's gonna be the only one not here, but I think Solstice activate a little early. Lace ready to hit behind the wall. And this space by Dodo Nut could be huge impact frags as they try to enter. Slowly the clock runs down. Remember, it's the pistol entry, so they're gonna have to waterfall in. This is gonna be tough for Solstice. Scary Shark onto 1 as we're watching Dodo Nut able to clear, but Lace gets the perpendicular shot on easy. And we see Sonder doing the normal Sonder thing, cleaning up 2 real quick. Scary Shark on that late lurk. And Vance seeing this too from Scary Shark. They know Scary Shark's always a late lurk. They can always look behind them. It's just, can they kill Scary Shark fast? Yes, they can. But it's good. It's good knowledge. As FlyQuest get another one. It was a safe round. Even with the lockdown, they play it safe. The lower buy from Solstice.
Exactly. They want to make sure here that they're just capitalize on rounds and just cycle the ults, which is fine because look at it. Sonder's already on her second Thrash. Right, we heard the Thrash opening up towards the B side just a few rounds ago, and then Sonder already has one like 2 rounds later. But the amount of plants they're getting, the amount of kills she's also getting, and look at the positions that they have in these post plants. So the Sage wall that they put is, like I said, usually you'd want to try to wall up the screens and then tower so you could just try to get a safe plant. But what they're doing is they're walling all the way back towards the spawn so that the rest of the players could push away at dice. And now you have a 4-player setup on these post plants, playing on top of Nest, playing on top of 410, and also in positions when you're not necessarily going to get sprayed by a Vandal or an Odin from the ramp of Boiler into screens to pick off some players down by that 410 lane. So the positioning for FlyQuest is also very good. And Solstice called a timeout, not necessarily on how they want to run out the protocols on these retakes. It's more on just trying to activate Marceline, who's also been very good in these moments to get first bloods for their opportunities, which is why you see this operator come out on the buy, and how can we support Marceline, making sure we break that dart and also maybe trying to get that forward space here on that pipes or on belt because of this composition of FlyQuest that you're consistently seeing towards these A-side pops. But FlyQuest with Thrashes usually hit B.
Yeah, in FlyQuest, every time after their game against, I believe, Reformed, the timeouts came in, FlyQuest went for the throat with some type of protocol. So this could be crazy here, Vance.
Yeah. And you see the position, right? They're putting that op into the A side to lock it down from Generator into main, which would be great picks. But now it's a wrong call because the pop is from FlyQuest. A 5-player hit behind the Thrash again, but that net's going to hit a lot.
Oh, it took it down. Thrash is out. Suru's going to take 1. Hunter's Fury comes across, and they are just absolutely pinned down in that long area. Can the shot still hit? And it is going to be Solstice calling this one. Note for note. A beautiful song from them, and they take that right back. The timeout, absolutely worth it.
So the extra layer that they want to put on top of that was putting a lot of responsibility on to Elaborate, to hold down towards the yellow, to have players to support, to break any type of utility that might push her out of position. And look at that, throwing that net, it actually contains and detains 3 players, and their Hunter's Fury got so much value on getting 1 kill and pings on others. And while you're just busy trying to get a dart out, everybody's pushing forward for the trades. So it's a great little counter by then, and now they have an opportunity to still shut down the A side because they haven't come across the op yet for FlyQuest. So Marceline still has an element of surprise now for Solstice.
Ooh, the scary Jenny peek. Feels like Fly knows it though, Vans. They're like sensing this, but will they clear it without a body? Nope.
Spike down A.
And there's the drone you were looking for.
Yep. Too deep of a jiggle or something more simple, just like a pathing you could do from belt instead. And Marceline continues with the reposition, has a great spot here for a second opportunity.
Ships in the night. 1 goes down from 410. Sabubu actually is able to aim high and take down Dodo Nut. Answering back. Oh, this Thale Rourke has been so good ripping apart the map, but do they know about Scary Shark, Fancilly? Do they know about the shark? all they do. Absolutely hook, line, and sinker. Lace hits that one immediately, and they are going to have the route all the way to B locked down here. A good timing by Sabubu may catch somebody off guard, but that will be the jig up.
Unfortunately, yeah, because for Scary Shark had the right idea, but never smelled that blood and peeked out a little bit too early, thinking that the hit was still coming towards the A site, and the Viper, that Thea that got the kill inside kitchen, was just going to be a rotate over. But Solstice wants to fight within this pit.
Grabbed one idea as the Vandal takes down the bot. Going to get a little health regain as they step outside the pit here and try to see what extremities they can get. As Lace gives the sliver shot, but the pickup there for Starbound. And they are just going to use each other as sentries on this one. Starbound with 2 there. Beautiful job to take down Solstice and get 2 in a row, I believe, for themselves there and start a little momentum. Oh, back in their favor.
Back and forth, yeah.
That momentum, yeah, back and forth.
Just because of the trap play they had the previous round there for Solstice.
That's right.
And now they have the op, and that's another one here that's okay. Now when they have the op, they know that we're trying to hit this A side a lot here. So we know at least now for the next time that the pathing could be different, that they could try to identify that opper a little bit more quickly once they realize that Marceline has the economy to be able to buy one. But because of that round, that FlyQuest answered right back. You see this much lower buy that you have from Solstice. Only Vandals, hash shields for a couple, double util, but actually more value coming out from Solstice, seeing 2 players on the belt. So that forces a rotate, pulls away 4 players around to rotate towards the A side, and that big fight on mid is a dink to Starbound.
Scary Shark's like, you know what? I'm taking tube for once, and I'm going to take the fight. Really pays off. Starbound gets hit up, but this is going to force the team forward, not realizing how many are actually pushing that position. And Marceline from the Crow's Nest on screen. Sonder finds it immediately. They're going to open it up, but do they check Sabubu? That's another spin as Saunders just jiggles back and forth as they enter into the site enough to keep it clean and keep everyone alive.
And that's where Scary Shark's position that we've mentioned, that she could actually spray throughout the screens and maybe do some damage. But because they lost so many players trying to anchor inside that site and losing those fights, it makes it impossible here to make some noise. You're trying to sneak in for these kills, and everybody's just surviving so far.
It's a jungle gym in there. Okay, Scary Shark, still picking up a few. Get some of those alt orbs online. Already have his Viper's Pit there. Doesn't look like it'll be a full defuse, but the damage is going to be good. Keep it coming. And this is going to be FlyQuest backing up.
I just love that Scary Shark was like, you know what? Let me just go in for another one. Just walks up the ramp and just gets another kill onto Lace. That was crazy. But it's still a round coming in for FlyQuest overall. And there was an idea, like I mentioned before, trying to play on these high angles, this verticality that FlyQuest doesn't have.
Yeah.
And you have the upper hand to get the right crosshair placement to get first contact. But because they've already lost 1 player in the process in the very beginning, and Marceline's just trying to get a good spot here, or at least an engagement at the very beginning. Marceline's trying to get into a good spot, just watching at the bottom of the maze, but didn't realize that nobody was watching that swing out from the generator. And Sonder had a beautiful entry coming through, and she's already once again, exactly, Sondering time, another one away from getting a thrash for the 3rd time of this half.
It's nutty. They like to hit B here to start with that too. Easy orb to grab. They've been kind of deterred off that A orb, so works out.
Right here.
Knife's got to tell a lot too, so that's going to slow down the tempo that FlyQuest's been activating throughout this whole half. So have to do their due diligence now of clearing with the Owl Drone. It's not really going to clear towards yellow, and the recon dart maybe because it's only going to get 1. But they don't really know that there's 2 players still trying to set up this crossfire. And look at the full deadlock set up on A. So the full delay's there, and their play for fast rotates on B for the fight.
We know it's yellow. Beautiful from Scary Shark, but Sonder is going to answer back one more time. This is Wingman Plant Thrash up, but they don't have the... Okay, now they have the wall up. They have a little bit more positioning on site. The lurk from Starbound could be huge, and they are looking for that on the side of Elaborate. Starbound gets 1. Looks like they try to enter the site now. Spike goes down. Marceline only with the Sheriff is going to try to do work here. Just misses the head of Dodo Nut, and that's a clear through the box onto Marceline. 3v2 situation as they continue to try and get back positioning on the site just to pressure these long players. Annihilation takes down Sonder. 1 more, but Dodo Nut trades it back.
Wow.
Eyes of Starbound now holding it. Good Molly post-plant delay. And they are just going to play Ring Around the Rosie.
So good. No time left here for Elaborate, especially if you're going to play around and try to find Dodo Nut that's just dancing around and just waiting out in the open. Open arms to greet Elaborate and allow FlyQuest to get the 8th round. But that's great lurks coming through. I was surprised, though, that we didn't try to use the KO ult if we're already going to invest into this annihilation from their deadlock from Elaborate a little bit later on, because you're trying to delay a little bit more. And Elaborate's kit has been very good on these nets. And if you didn't allow like these walls to come up, these plants to come through from a get-go, you had potentially an opportunity to fight back, but they want to save this within this round. The pit not looking to be used anywhere aggressively for Solstice. Maybe an idea to try to use it on a retake, as finally we see the positioning now from Scary Shark on the top of 410. Maybe a little bit too late. They want to be more reactive and fight first.
All these ults are still here too for FlyQuest. Oh, take one. Okay, bring it back.
I mean, it makes sense. Lace is holding an off-butting attack too, and that's something that she loves to do as well. Usually on an Omen, sometimes on the Sova. And she was looking for that pick. Gets the information, now pulls out the Hunter's Fury and double ult to take control of the A site.
So alt denial and the usage on both sides there. They have Solstice scrabbling, but they're not in a terrible position. They still have more of a default hold that they like. And now it's going to be up to FlyQuest, their second position of this strategy. What is... That's the question.
Just a bubble to go towards B. Just avoiding Scary Shark because they know that the pit is so far away, so they have an opportunity to get an opening inside this B site for these trades.
Ooh. Heating up. Omen Playground now, as we see them looking through, just pushing themselves into the site. This is basically what they did for the first few rounds on A. And they're still waiting. Null Command finally ticks out. And Sabubu drops Dodo Nut. Shots from across the map, and Scary Shark's lurk comes up huge again. Always have to be aware of the fangs lurking about. Sabubu with the 3K, and they just continue to pick up the rounds that look like it's scattered, but they reacted so well there.
Yeah, to still get 4 towards the end of their half for Solstice is actually quite good to start things off. Again, this was something that FlyQuest was really good on the attack side, on their attack half, but the composition that they have still has a lot of great stall on the defense. It's not only just a deadlock that's going to set up full traps here, just like Solstice was trying to do. And unfortunately, for a lot of these rounds, they really never ran into Elaborate's traps here with the sonic sensors or doing any traps. The only one where they had the best value was that net with the Hunter's Fury combination. But now they're going to have to play against FlyQuest with this comp where you could flash, push players back. You could delay so much too with the composition as well. So Solstice is going to have to start working the map a little bit more, or just be on point with Marceline with the entries with the Sheriff.
I want to see that. Let's go. Give me the W. Already a drone spot out as they push Thea back just for now. Still good positioning. There's a Sheriff there in the hands of Marceline with some ghosts to back it up as they get positioning on the site. Post plant mollies are down. FlyQuest still hesitant on getting the full rotate here, so this is dangerous for the members inside as Solstice pushing very aggressive, but they find Scary Shark from a little bit of elevation. Sabubu trade, Thea back as the just scoreboard lights up with trades back and forth here, leaving the 3v2. No, Sabubu goes down to Sonder and just long range shots here. Classic shots down. Sonder does find it, and they are going to be able to make it out with the pistol on the side of FlyQuest. A much needed round there if they want to stop a Solstice comeback.
And the wall would have been perfect, the deadlock wall towards the spawn, if the Viper wall was up there to support. But as it doesn't, it just still allows the players towards the spawn to support, to help. Shock darts also came through from Lace to do some damage. So there was a little bit of miscomm here on how Solstice wanted to fight towards the site here. They got control there. I mean, they got value out of the net once again to take down Dodo Nut, or to trap her at least. But this is the second time that a player from FlyQuest has been netted down, and still you just stay crouched, get a pick, and they're getting great value. A 1-for-1 before they fall in. A great gun round that they have now for the second one, and a forward spy coming out from Solstice. A 5-player pop about to happen towards this A side.
They're going to have to hit it fast, and they're going to have to be looking the same way here. Sandra's going to look to clear one out with Mosh. Back up. A little breather here. FlyQuest has good positioning, but they just don't have the angles yet. And no, beautiful shots as Solstice can't find it first. Another one jumping to Nest. Sandra's going to clear that. Oh, the headshot, but Starbound's going to clear up Melia. And yeah, FlyQuest was just waiting to absorb that as Solstice W'd into sight with 5 on that buy.
And the Viper wall was actually moved here towards that B site. So what do you really have to block the vision when you're throwing a deadlock wall towards the screen? Nothing. So again, it's one of those issues that unfortunately you're running into with this composition for Solstice, where maybe you need to play this single initiator instead of a double one, so you can have an extra smoke to add on top of the walls of Deadlock, because this is just free shooting right now for FlyQuest still. And you know that when FlyQuest is on point here and when they're able to aim, they're aiming well, and they're gonna land every single of these shots, just like Sandra did. Another first blood for her name. Not an agent that it's not supposed to do that, because you're supposed to get information with util, not with your gun and kill.
Tough movement now. Really no elevation to be had on the side of Solstice after losing Marceline, but still going to play towards A. Elaborate's now the one on the lurk.
Just got seen. He'll already be pinged out right now for Thea.
Yeah, double.
So just beware of that, so those two players could stay. Unfortunately, though, Thea still falls. Oh my god, somehow Elaborate got both? Okay, that's going to pull everybody back towards B right away.
Woo! Okay, weapon pickup. It's going to be a stinger actually still in hand. To see if they can get a different one. Wall towards the forward position of mid, so they can't come back up through orange. And it's up to Elaborate here to take out another one maybe. Or Scary Shark. That was a beautiful timing to take down Dodonut on the flank here. This is going to be so tough for Lace and Sonder now to gather and muster up the power to make this one work.
This is not going to be winnable, but it is still Sonder and Lace. Two players that get instant kills, and you might use this thrash around there. But they're in super high lows for all the positions for Solstice. Jump spawning coming out from Sabubu so that the rest can get ready inside the site.
The sound sensor. No shots coming from there. This is going to be so difficult. Sandra was looking for the Dizzy, but gets sent Dizzy herself. And now Lace just underneath. Elaborate with a 4K on this round. The double Sheriff open and buying twice in a row. Continuing the pressure pays off for Solstice.
That was such a big round for Elaborate. And I know that we got those kills at least off screen.
Yeah.
But if you were paying attention to that radar, it was like a 1-for-1 from yellow to green. And then you wanted to play out in the open so that, maybe they'll never expect for me to play out in the open and I can go for that late trade. And somehow Elaborate quick on the trigger to open it up, and that just changed everything, changed the aspect of the round for Solstice in their favor, and they're able to get a thrifty against FlyQuest, who puts them on the defensive side, which with a much lower buy, still trying to get a value out of this Guardian playing towards middle. But if not, it's up to small pistols for these two players only within this A side on Sonder and Dodonut.
I feel like Elaborate's still vibing, going solo on the right side here as the push-up happens. FlyQuest on the low buy here on A. Melia slowly creeping up. Sees one jump. Doesn't know on the back, though. The Frenzy is going to get the kill, but not the pickup. Marceline with the save on the weapon. And they're keeping the guns out of the hands of FlyQuest here to make this a less painful round. It looks like they're going to be able to do so. A quick push here by Starbound. I think they should have a good timing to maybe pick up one more. The utility.
And the position, too. Very difficult now for Thea to get anything done. At least got one. But if anything for FlyQuest, it was just simple on their pistol, on their defense rather. They just played in positions that they could trade, maybe in areas where if people are swinging one by one or trying to scale towards the site one by one, then they have these opportunities to do some econ damage, and that's exactly what happened. After this first kill from Melia, it's not being checked. Gives enough time for Lace to rotate over and do some damage. And Solstice, though, they're still going to be pretty decent on a buy in this round, just because 2 rounds ago was a thrifty that they won. And that allows now Elaborate to get an operator on the attack. She's once again going to hold the solo side on B. So they're defaulting a lot on a 1-4 on that end, and maybe even a late Viper on middle from Scary Shark. But the main power is going to happen towards this A side with the Owl Drone trying to clear it out. And they'll soon realize that it's once again just 2 players playing on the A side. And they're not going to be able to do too much to delay because both of them just got hit by a knife. So yes, you could pull out the Viper wall, but you can't Sage wall. You can't Dizzy to push players back. So now you're keeping them anchored towards this A side, and the pivot towards B is perfect because now you're forcing the last 2 players to maybe even swing out to get information where this op can get a lot of punish.
Oof. They can tell now the Killjoy utilities here. There's always been one yellow. Look how fixed the eyes are on yellow right now. Ridiculous. They're like, okay, yeah, where are they? They're going to get a quick shot on it. So now they can move. Van's very patient play. Good mollies. Nice deterrent, but Melia's still going to get the spam through onto Thea. Starting things off. And they just try to deny angles here as they encroach a little bit more onto site. Playing it actually rather slow.
Still have plenty of time. They have Annihilation. They maybe want to see if there's going to be a res coming through, because if the Viper wall comes up, they can maybe res behind it.
30 seconds left.
All right, 0 point out, no one close. Who's going to be the one going in? Annihilation hits. See, it has a tether? No. Yes, it does. Coming through from the other side. That's going to be a slow towards yellow as they slowly play this. There is no saving Lace from that one. But they can't get to the spike just yet. 3v5, it seems almost impossible here with so much stuff coming out from the Deadlock and the rest of the team. And that's a runaway. Operator's going to be saved here by Sonder. They did have that in the beginning of the round, just weren't able to use it. And Solstice still has their op.
And that's the power that we see of the Deadlock on the attack. You may see this composition sometimes, or just see the agent overall, where it's like, oh, you're going to play a Sentinel sometimes with a Cypher as well. It's going to be so good here on the defense. But what's good about the Deadlock on the attack is all these lanes that you're blocking. And now they're finally able to put a wall behind a Viper wall on top of that as well. And you're playing in an angle that, you know, even if players are swinging outside the wall, they don't see anything because you're playing all the way back towards yellow and green. So great utility towards the end from Elaborate on the attack side. Once they finally find their footing on controlling at least the maps, and they're not really controlling it in like a macro fashion, right? It's just Elaborate getting these picks at the very beginning, or just players able to do some early punishes on these defaults that are running.
It's true. A lot of the B play, it feels like they've been scaring FlyQuest into these plays, right? With what Elaborate did before, and they keep pressuring it a little, makes it scary. You second guess things.
The idea already now is to just pick up the tempo. They threw a net towards the orb, trying to prevent players from getting an orb on their side. KO ult 2, and it's a full pop. Donut just got spotted.
Oh, great read. A nice kill onto the wall there. Knowing Dodomut's been playing a little tricky on that positioning. We actually saw that in the previous play. So they've been doing their homework. Estea answers. 3 members now for Solstice to do some work here. And you're right, this wall here, they can still see through it. They can still play through it, but that's also benefit of Melia on this time. And the trades are just coming fast, Van Silly. One shot, anybody gives up the position on Solstice, and it seems like there's a target on their head immediately.
You're just trying to make such a big play here for the player on the top of the A nest. That was the most important thing, and with her dying, it doesn't really allow for you to get within the site, because Thea's still up, holding the back of the site, putting the wall up, putting even a molly on the ground to delay that clock. Yet Solstice still looks like they want to fight towards this.
Slowly moving. Alarm bot on the right side. Give him up one. There's the operator going down. Still enough money to purchase that for the next round. And the squeeze in now on Sabubu ever so slowly. 24 seconds here. Wall can only be up for so long. Oh, through the wall. Sonder finds 2 for the round. Cleaning up and capitalizing to get a few more towards Thrash.
And that was very, very well done here on just the layers that they had from just one doing heroic plays. If you die, there's still players behind you that's there to support you. Like we mentioned, Lace, yes, she was blocked behind by the wall, but she still had firepower to support and watch that lane so that Thea could focus just on Dice side towards the default spot of the A site, and got so much value of just lurking around as this Viper and getting so many picks around her utility, around those walls, that people are swinging into the unknown after that. At 11 for FlyQuest, Solstice back into a 3-2 setup. And a knife thrown early towards yellow, but still walking towards the A side. So you are selling some sort of fake here. You're pushing players, and you threw a net towards this B side. You're trying to rotate everybody around. And look at the weak side on A now. It's going to be a 3-on-2, so on paper, you have the advantage until that jump just missed. So I don't know if it was heard now by Donut at screens. So they're grouping up together towards the back of the site. The jig is up. The fake has now calmed down.
Yeah. Elaborate's mind games, I think, are helping so good. FlyQuest playing patiently. Get themselves taken out on that one. A quick trade, though. Marceline goes down, but they've made their way into the site, and Sabubu is going to be able to capitalize on Dodonut. That's the stall. That's the slow that they want to get rid of, so now they can get plant and get out. And we still have this wraparound from Elaborate coming through so far. Waiting patiently. 2 topside, 1 low as Saunders initiates with the Dizzy. Goes for the Phantom pickup to make the retake a little bit easier here. And they're going to look for a wingman hit. Elaborate just off on the side here.
Not even need it.
They're not going to need it. Melia hits a good one. Take down Sonder and Solstice, even without going B here. They're making it count, Vans.
Yeah. And you kept those players towards that B side. Again, weak side towards A, and it came down to what? A 1 versus 1 towards that A site. And I would understand that Donut win for the swing because you actually heard the reload from Sabubu just behind the slow orb that she threw. So it's okay, I'll try to swing it. I might get a timing. Loses that fight. And that just opened up the site there for Solstice to work towards A. And once those audible calls are being done, and you realize here for FlyQuest that the fake was towards B at the beginning, they still didn't put Elaborate into account, which allowed for her to be basically the nail in the coffin should Million lose her fight on the A side on the post plan. So a great sound plan from Solstice from beginning to the end on that previous round. And FlyQuest now realizing that, you know, they're starting to let the lead slip on their defensive side, already calling a timeout to try to readjust this into the next round. Because if you're looking at their economy right now, it's not looking the best. It's not looking too hot. And I don't think you're in an ult that, or you're in a position that you can really try to lock down an area with a Viper's Pit when the other ones are going to be on pistols, and yourself could only be potentially in like a Stinger if you want to buy around that. So I think the conversation is going to be for the next round when the money's right, where they could get money as well in the next round.
It does seem like it has to be an option now because Elaborate seems to be walking in everywhere. The operators should kind of almost have that hard angle because they're not using util to get to places. The space is just being given up. So I think, get that money in, get the op back, FlyQuest gets back on the angles, and
they're gonna do it.
Start playing off some good roads. They get the Viper's Pit down.
Just a classic with the Viper's Pit on the A side. So you're making them think here that you're stacking up towards this B site with the lower buy, and you're hoping that potentially they could still walk into your double stack inside that pit. But I'm not too sure on that call. This is Solstice that should have an easy open sight towards B.
Yeah, hearing that globally and not seeing the Viper here, they know they're at least a 4v5 for the situation. But what's the lurk? You can already see one the Scary Sharks looking behind here as this one just gets real tempered.
We're just going to wait out the walls, wait out for any type of aggressive pushes that could come out here from FlyQuest. Knowing that they're on a lower buy, they have to try to make some sort of play, try to close the gap too. If they're going to play with Stingers, if they're going to play with Classics or anything. So you're just waiting for them to overextend, to overcommit.
Nice denial smokes. The wall's up, but they're actually answering with their own gas.
Running through it. That was crazy.
They do not want to activate. Getting a little antsy there. Saunders is going to get a good sheriff shot on a Sabubu, though. They're coming in fast. Saunders is going to be tracked down by Elaborate here. Mosh is going to force the situation, and no trade comes through. Thea does go down, and only Lace will be the one to find another kill for FlyQuest as 3 stand for Solstice on another win.
And that was the important thing, to continue to maintain the composure despite still having 30 seconds left in the round against you for Solstice. So they put up their Viper wall, it forces out the orb from FlyQuest, and then you just saw the mistakes that started to come out here from FlyQuest. Nobody could watch across, so Donut just runs through blindly, hoping she could wall off towards yellow so that the 3-player stack on B could just focus on spraying through when the orb comes down and focus on denying plant here towards that site. But players already walked up for Solstice and denied all of that. So any type of plays you're trying to do on the fly did not pay, no pun intended, but it didn't pay off for FlyQuest. But they have the economy now, they have this op, and you mentioned it, it's being utilized to try to lock down Elaborate on this deadlock on this B side.
Hopefully it works. Elaborate actually looks like they may have the avenue there. His belt and this elevation in A is being taken control of. Marceline with the first few picks. Even with all the drones, all the info, they still going dry. And Sabubu finds the first shot. But Thea answers back, trying to play it patient. Still made enough noise for Sabubu to find a second one.
And that's just, once again, Elaborate making so much noise on this B side. I heard an op shot go through from Sonder, and she's just dancing around after. And 3 players are still moving towards that side. So weak side A, Solstice walks in for a contact, gets an opening. Gonna go for it, though.
Hunter's Fury is going to split the defense just a little bit. Still good utility to come in from this defensive side, but you also have post-plant utility you got to be looking for. And there's a little bit of it just arcing over the site. Blades down. Starbond and Sonder are able to come up big for the defensive side, but they have one more to do. Sander's the only one left here. Tap on the spike. Takes a haircut from Marceline there. but it's not going to be enough. They need the operator here, they feel, to continue these rounds. And that's going to be another one now for Solstice as they are on a run.
At least you're going to try to pad some stats for Sonner, but just to continue to not only Elaborate's doing so good on containing these players towards the B site, but this is the second time that Solstice goes in for a contact towards this A site. A couple of rounds ago, when they went for that force buy on Stingers on that second round, they actually didn't use any of that util from the initiators at all. And once they got close enough, they just had perfect pathing where they could avoid any line of sights from FlyQuest and just pop with their Stingers. And they've realized that for their gun round. And now that they had better weaponry, they just had great entries to go through, and FlyQuest was just not ready for that. So you're trying to change their strategy a little bit around here. Off that timeout, the wall comes up early just to know if there's going to be some early pressure coming out from this end. Lace could do something with the Hunter's Fury, awesome slow orbs if they get contact here.
And they've avoided the op here, Vans. Null command comes out. Melee is going to shut down the rest of the util, and their wall is going to be good for the defensive plant, or offensive plant, I should say, and then the defensive setup. There's the pit. And now here comes the rotation. Thrash is there. Great to clear pit on the other side.
And a lockdown too from Starbound.
Great
right
call.
now for Solstice, they're actually playing all the way back. They're just going to drop the pit now and try to do something else here for those post plans, but there's just so much good util for the defense right now of FlyQuest.
Whoa, that really pushes Solstice back hard. You can see how big the lockdown is. Coming through, Molly's are going to go out to delay everything that they can. Watching from Saunders' point of view, here's the first shot's going to be the chest of Sabubu, trying to get out of the net. Team's going to help on that one as FlyQuest continue to batter down on Solstice. Holding long, it's almost the ace from Scary Shark, but she's sunk. Starbound, flying high, comes up huge, gets the defuse, and FlyQuest find the game point.
There was so much counter utility from both of those teams. First off, trying to get the mosh. It looked like it was going to miss, but it's just to clear players away to make sure that they move at least into the corner of that right side of that spot where you saw the slow orb and the snake bite land right there on Sabubu. But that counter right away to throw that net on the ground. Look at them. 3 players crouched through, and they had to have perfect trades in the end where Starbound almost clutched it. But thankfully, FlyQuest had enough players so they could trade and allow the 1v1 to happen and force the wide swing from Scary Shark so that Starbound could win their fight. So now FlyQuest is at map point, but there's still such a good economy for Solstice.
Talk about Scary Shark. Absolutely nutty as like a duelist from that position. And seeing it there on the round. There's just too many members of FlyQuest though, and now up towards A. Saunders starts it early. And they take out one of the initiators for the site hit here. Kind of elaborate work magic on the other side.
And that's Saunders just trying to lean out and realizing here the contact play that they've been trying to do towards the A side, contact play towards B. Now it's time for them to aggress on one side, hide on the other, thinking that the over-rotate came through. And that's 2 big punishes for FlyQuest and an opportunity to close the first map.
Thea down to 21 here. A little bit of chip damage always helps, especially when you are 2 members out. Marceling moves forward. Happy to create this pressure. One shot. Almost gets set down for the second one, but Lace is able to find it. The trade again from Lace. Good for 2 there. And here comes the res. Here comes the play, but Scary Shark again. Scary Shark in the clutch. Just 1 shot to Thea. Possibly a headshot to Lace, who's been on point, but it's not going to be enough. 2 4Ks in a row. Scary Shark looking to keep them in the game. Possibly the ace on this round, and Spike in hand.
And a pick.
They've switched the map. Scary Sharks on the defensive side. The attack held by Thea, and they're going to have to change it up once again as the spike gets planted. You're right, the pit is there. Is it used? Is that space going to be given here? The fake plant to see if it comes through. And they're going to wait on it. Both incredibly low to 1 shot on the Vandal. Looking for the timing. Scary Shark plays it outside. Screens now. Has been so incredible in these clutches and to keep them in the game versus FlyQuest on the comeback so far from the attack side. And Scary Shark with the ace. Do.
Oh my God, Scary Shark! You know what you have to do when a Scary Shark you run away. What a big clutch coming out from the latest addition from Solstice, a player that switched over to this team because she felt that she would have a better opportunity to have a deeper run with this team. But little did they know that they needed Scary Shark themselves for Solstice to allow for them to get such a close series so far against FlyQuest. But my God, was that amazing game sense. And that's why she's called a shark.
Dude, 9 kills in 2 rounds.
It's crazy.
Actually fighting the server right now. Scary Shark is different. All right, we go towards A. This is okay. Stop. I thought they were going for another fast hit. That was going to be absurd.
Well, they have to gamble a little bit here for FlyQuest as well, right? The economy is very low. Donut has his Vandal. They did a bit of util from the initiators, and it saw a bit. But I like it at least from Solstice. They pull back, but they could still re-hit towards the A side, but there's defaulting now. Going back to the same thing where FlyQuest, they might feel the sense of urgency on their side, and they might overpeak and get punished. Look at the movements right now. There's owl drones coming out towards the A side, but we're pivoting back and forth here, uncertain of where we could hit, because look how condensed they are towards the back of middle. They're playing with no information on these extremities.
Yeah. Oh, just underneath. Literally hatching the opponent there, sitting on top for a second. Saunders is going to go down on 410. Melia, rest of the team push up. Eyes of Saunders now. It's just one on Jenny, one at 410, and looking for one on Nesta. Classic comes up just short. Melia finds another. Starbound's going to be able to hit that one, though, and it is going to be FlyQuest taking the 13 rounds, just stopping Solstice short of Shine and Bright. And what a first map that was. Honestly, Solstice looked like they were hungry enough the way Elaborate was playing B Van Silly. It looked like it was going to be a done deal to see some overtime there.
I thought I was going to see Fluorescent from Shopify Rebellion just reincarnated into Scary Shark because she felt like she had to carry the team over and was so close. But unfortunately, the momentum that she just did on that clutch was not enough here for Solstice to take it across the overtime line when you had a lower buy from FlyQuest. So very well done, at least for FlyQuest, to stick around as that group, to have those fast rotates and to fight with their lower weapons, and that's Donut anchoring the site like a queen again.
And we're not done yet. We got Sunset coming up next, so you're going to want to check that out.
I'm Donut, and I play duelist for FlyQuest. I would say I'm pretty good at inting and running it down, but that's also like kind of a con for me, because if I int, we can possibly lose the round. So it's kind of pros and cons. My next teammate is Sonder. She has a she plays Flex and Flashes for us. Also, she has a pretty big voice for like Flex and Flasher, and it actually makes my job like way much easier when I'm like entering and asking for util, because she's always there ready. Next one is Lace. She plays Recon and Info NE. Her mid-rounding and voice is a big part of our team. She's like our win con mid-round basically. We have Thea, who's our IGL and smoker. I'll say her IGLing pre-round is really clear and good, and everyone's able to like go set up pre-round. Starbound plays Senti for us, and I'll say Star is like the rock of the team. Star's not too loud or not too quiet. It's kind of like the middle ground player who like keeps us like not too hyper, but like on a good level. I would say our team, when we're at the highest, we're like pretty much unstoppable, because when stuff is working, we do everything together, everything's working well. I would say our personality outside of the game are very different, so I think it matches pretty well, because we all are very different people, and we just like kind of mush together well. We have some loud players on the team, like me, Sonder, Lace, and then the other two, Thea and Starbound, are like kind of like more quiet and not super loud. So when 3 of us are yapping, the other 2 are like probably like questioning marking us and shit. I feel like it's going to LAN like makes me want to continue competing, because like I enjoy going to LAN so much, meeting new players and like getting to know them. It just, you know, makes me like, oh, I want to keep doing this to like be able to go to more lands and, you know, have more of these memories. I'll say like one of the strongest thing is like when I'm like feeling it on fire, like I would think I'm unstoppable. I just have to get into the groove of it, and then I'll pretty much be unstoppable, and then I'll end the game fast. When I know I'm shooting, I just feel super confident to like swing everything with util and just like, okay, I usually say if I like play super good, like yesterday, like today I know I will play like pretty bad or like kind of mid. It's just that. Or if I played bad yesterday, I know I'll play good today. It's just how I am. Like I still try like the same amount every day. It's just like my hands just stop working sometimes. I'm getting old. 19's a big age. We're hoping the same thing. Hopefully we do well, we play well. It's just how we show up during the match, honestly. Like, I wouldn't say we're bad as a team, because we play well in scrims and on good days. So I just like need everyone on the team to like show up on match days and just be great. I mean, I love all my friends. Like, what can I say, you know? Yeah, I'll take all the fans that I can get. All the haters, if I have any haters. Hopefully I don't, but sorry guys, I don't know what I did to make you guys hate me, but hopefully you guys will continue supporting us, and we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you.